Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm here looking at your debate to your draw packet because I'm going to be talking about what you're going to find on the third page. What is a value? We're going to talk about what a value is, and then even talk about how we decide that a value is important. So we're going to be focusing on those things. I also wanted to show you that in your debate till you draw packet that there is a list of 20 values that are really common when we talk about a Lincoln Douglas debate. And then I'm also going to talk about where you're going to find this information inside the constructive case format so you understand where to put it. Okay? This is what I know about values. You can define values in two ways. As a noun, it's something that is desirable or has worth, or as a verb, to rate something highly. Okay? There's a way we go about picking our values for our own life, and there's also a way that we go about picking values for our Lincoln Douglas debate. Okay? Here's the process. Okay? That's what you need to understand. First, in relation to choosing a value. We're selecting a value from among many other choices after considering the consequences of each. We're prizing it, which means that we're considering the value very important or truly important in your life and being proud of it, and acting, being willing to behave in accordance with that value, even when others may disagree. So this is our value process in life, and then we can take this and even put it into debate words. When we're choosing a value in debate, we're selecting it from many other values and deciding then what makes it very important, and then talking about how people act in accordance with that value. So if you have to rewind what I just said, that's fine. But you need to make sure that that is exactly what we're doing when we're putting a value on something. Okay, we're going through this process. Now, where do we get these values? Well, start off, most values kind of originate in one of these three areas. Okay? Religion is one. Religion does try to explain the meaning of life, and then these good standards through which people live a good life. So there's a lot of values that come from that. Family also attempts to give us values too, because they attempt to mold and pass on these values of right and wrong from generation to generation. And then, of course, society. They set these standards against which people test the values they receive from religion and family. Okay? So when we're talking about values associated with Lincoln Douglas debate, let's look at some of these. Beauty. I'm pretty sure that maybe religion doesn't suggest that beauty is rated as something that we should be valuing all the time, but I know society does, right? Democracy. Again, more about the society. So I wanted to kind of show that a lot of these things are going to come, when we're talking about Lincoln Douglas, come from our society. Okay? So let's just take justice, for example. That might be something that I would put into my example of the Lincoln Douglas debate format. So I'm going to exit out of here, kind of give you a second if you haven't already written some of these things down, and I'm going to show you my example again of the Lincoln Douglas debate that I was talking about. Okay? So, resolved. In the United States, juveniles charged with violent felonies ought to be treated as adults in the criminal justice system. So if I was affirmative, why would I believe this to be true? I might suggest something that, well, justice might prevail if we do this. So I might need that to logically prove my side of the case. It's just an example of maybe taking one value and placing it upon my case. Okay? Now, a place that you can go look to kind of help you with picking a value might be the internet. Again, that's one of the reasons why I suggested that you look on the internet for help. So here's what the internet said about maybe picking a value for my case. So the value for the round is justice, defined as giving each other's due. This is the most important value within the round because the resolution based itself on the U.S. legal system. The primary purpose of which is to deliver justice. Thus, justice is the most appropriate value to use. Okay, now what I'm going to try to do is bring this full circle. Why do we need to know about values, and where in the world do we put this into our case? Okay, so in our constructive case format, you're going to notice that there's an introduction, there's the body, there's the conclusion. Okay, and each part of the case tells you exactly what you're supposed to do. So in the introduction, you have an interest device, which is essentially like a wake-up statement or a hook, something that kind of makes people understand. Okay. The second one is the resolution and analysis, which we're going to be talking about in class. So you'll talk more about that. And then definition of the terms. Again, we'll talk more about that in class. What we're talking about today is stating and defining a core value. A value premise is something that offers evidence that number one, it is a value, and number two, it's an important value. So just saying my value is justice is not going to be adequate enough. I'd have to talk about why the value of justice makes sense to my case. A lot like what was given in this online example. Okay? So what do you need to bring for me tomorrow? Like, how am I going to be able to tell you watch this? I need you guys to brainstorm 2 values that you think you could place upon your case, whether you be affirmative or negative. And I want you to try to define that value. Using dictionary.com is just fine. And then also brainstorm some reasons why you know the value is important. It doesn't have to be in complete sentences. I just need to know that you're thinking about why that value is important. Okay? So we have spent 6 minutes just talking about what you need to do. And then what I want you to do for your homework, like I said, is I want you to make sure that you come up with a value for whatever your proposition resolution is. I need 2 values. I need you to define that value, and I need you to come up with some reasons why you know those values are important. All right, good luck. We'll see you in class tomorrow.